Okay, I think I'm live. Hopefully, I'm doing this correctly. Yeah, okay. I think I'm on. Alright, I'll give you guys a few minutes to get on before I get started. Cool, you made it. Hello. Okay. I'm trying to get something here. Hopefully it's not just us two, because that would be kind of funny. I am late though. I had something I had to do, and then of course technical difficulties with the app. Alright, I'm trying to figure out how to get... I always lose it somehow. Let's see here. I think it's on... I don't know. Okay, let's see here. Worry about what? Like not making it here? I still don't know if I'm going to do these every week though, so who knows. There's a few times I won't be able to, but I don't know. I think I'll just do it like every week, and then if I can, I'll like write it, because it's just sometimes it's a lot. Okay. It's funny how I keep thinking I won't make it. Yeah. Yeah, it is kind of funny. I think it might just be us. I'm gonna post really quick on my sub real quick too. So hold on. Bible study going on now. Well, thank you. I don't need to be appreciated though. I'm sure you know that. I don't really care, to be honest, but okay. Yeah. Okay, I posted it. So, I don't know if you can tell from my voice sounding weird, but I just got my Invisalign. So, now my it like feels really weird when I talk, and I can't talk at all. So, hopefully it's not too bad. I don't really care either way, but just so people are like, "Why do you have a lisp?" Be like, "Yep, this is why, cuz I got my Invisalign." I am awesome. Thank you. So are you. Okay, so I guess we might just get started. I'll just wait another minute just in case. I wanted to check something really quick. I'm on my computer here, so hold on. That'll be funny though if it's just us. I think that'll be the first time that there's ever only been one person, which I don't care, but it would be funny. Just because, like, I don't think I've, not that you know what I'm trying to say. Okay. What is that? What is what? I hope I'm not showing something on my computer. I don't think I am. Oh, Invisalign, I'm assuming. It's braces, basically. Yeah, it's braces for your bottom. Well, I actually have straight teeth. Like, I just got lucky. I guess it's hereditary. My dad has straight teeth, but I did have one crooked bottom tooth, and it doesn't really matter. But with flossing, I'm like a huge flosser and good oral hygiene person, so I just want to make sure that I don't get cavities. Yeah, it's Invisalign. Oh, hey, Andrew. No worries. Thanks for coming. We were just talking about how I just got Invisalign, so that's why I'm talking with a lisp. Oh, I just realized that this thing was still on. Sorry. Okay, I'm gonna get started in a second. Okay, here. See if I can... This app is so funny. If you, like, click stuff, it just... Okay. Yeah, it's spelled Invisalign. Not that it matters, but... I'm trying to see if I can, like... It's funny that I just said it's spelled Invisalign. Sorry. I just have one more thing to do, and then I can go there. I don't know. I don't like this thing. Okay, we're going to get started. We're going to start in Matthew 20 or 19? 20. Yeah, Matthew 20. So if you want to go there, you can. I'm trying to, like, figure out how to get to the video. Okay, here we go. I'll do it like this. I'm going to spell it so you guys can see how to spell it, although I'm sure you know how. Okay. Invisalign. It's basically like cool braces, basically. Like, they're clear. So, but they hurt really bad. I never had braces before, so they are not fun to have. Just saying. All right, let's get started. Okay, let me move my keyboard here. Sorry, I gotta turn my... Okay, I think we're good. Okay, so we're gonna start in Matthew 20. This is just like some stuff that God's been speaking to me this week. So... That is actually really funny that you just wrote spell check. I know you meant spell check, and then it changed to chick. That is really funny. That's pretty funny. Okay, so we're going to start in Matthew 20. And again, I don't ever know what I'm going to talk about, so I'm just going to talk about like what God teaches me throughout the week. So that's what we will be talking about today. Trying to turn this off, sorry. Okay, so Matthew 20. I don't know if you guys can see this clear or not. It's hard to tell with my phone, but let me see if I can. Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully you guys can see that. All right, verse 1, Matthew 20. For the kingdom of heaven, and again, if there's new people here, I just got Invisalign, so sorry for my lisp that I'm going to have for like the next who knows how long. For the kingdom of heaven is like a landowner who went out early in the morning to hire laborers for his vineyard, or vineyard, however you say it. I say vineyard. So when he had agreed with the laborers for a denarius a day, he sent them into his vineyard. And he went out about the third hour and saw others standing idle in the marketplace, and said to them, "You also go into the vineyard, and whatever is right I will give it to you." So they went. Again, he went about the 6th hour. Hold on, I keep getting lost. I need like a pen. Okay. Where was I at? Here we go. And the 9th hour, and did likewise. And about the 11th hour he went out and found others standing idle, and said to them, "Why have you been standing idle here idle all day?" They said to him, "Because no one hired us." He said to them, "You also go into the vineyard, and whatever is right you will receive." So when evening had come, the owner of the vineyard said to his steward, "Call the laborers and give them their wages, beginning with the last to the first." And when those who were hired about the 11th hour, they each received a denarius. But when the first came, they supposed that they would receive more, and they likewise received each a denarius. And when they had received it, they complained against the landowner, saying, "These last men worked only 1 hour." And I'm just going to read up to verse 16, which is still a lot, but "These men have worked only 1 hour, and you made them equal to us who have borne the burden in the heat of the day." When he answered one of them and said, "Friend, I'm doing you no wrong. Did you not agree with me for a denarius? Take what is yours and go your way. I wish to give this last man the same to you. Is it not lawful for me to do what I wish with my own things, or is your eye evil because I'm good? So the last will be first, and the first last. For many are called, and few are chosen." Okay, so it's clear for me. Okay, cool. Glad it's clear. Okay, sorry. This app is like crazy. Okay, hopefully you guys can see. So when I was reading this and like actually today, and it really spoke to me, like, because I know that this is like Jesus is talking about the kingdom of heaven. So it's talking about like whenever, like right now, like whenever you get people saved and all that cool stuff. And so the laborers we're the laborers, right? And it's for his vineyard. So it's not even, and that's like one of the things that really stuck out to me, because life is not for us. Like, we're not living to have a good life. We're living for his name, whether that means we have a good life or not. Like, we want to shine and look like Jesus regardless of what our circumstances are, regardless of how it looks and how it seems and all that good stuff. So, and that's like the thing to keep in mind. So it says, you know, in the first verse, to hire laborers for his vineyard. So it's all about him, and it's about what we can do for him. It's not about, and it's not like a work mentality thing, like where, oh, I have to do all this stuff for God. But it's more like, it's like our privilege. Like, we actually are co-laborers with him. So we actually get to work along with him. Like, he flows through us, and we get to work, and we get to like see all this awesome stuff. And there's actually a lot of really cool, yeah, anyway, I won't get into that. But anyway, so I was reading this, and it really, like, I'll just go down here. So I actually like read this a while ago and then read it again. And it just, some really cool stuff stuck out to me. So whenever they received it, and this is talking about the ones that were there the longest. And this actually reminds me of, like, whenever you read the story of the good father, or people always call it the lost son, or whatever they call it. I always call it the good father, because it's all about the father, like the good father, and that, you know, it's not about what the son did, it's about what the father did. And so, anyway, so I was reading that, and it just really, like, it really reminds me of the way he acted, because he was, like, upset. I guess we could just go there. I don't even actually know where it is. Where is the good father parable? Can someone find it for me on Google? I know it's in Matthew somewhere. Watch it not be in Matthew. I read it not too long ago. There's the lost sheep one. I'll just Google it really quick in case no one's looking. But Google. And you have to, like, write the lost son or whatever. You can't write, like, the good father, because then that good father song comes up, and it's really funny. Okay, let's see here. Is it in Luke? Is it only in Luke? I thought it was in Matthew. I guess not. All right, it's in Luke 15. So I'll just go there really quick. Hello, Carlos Arts. Good. Thank you for coming. I think you were here last week, if I recall correctly. And shoot, I just forgot what I said. Luke. You guys don't even really have to go there. You can if you want. I'll find it. I could have sworn, yeah, 15, that's what it was. I could have sworn it was, yeah, here, I have it right there, the good father. So, how they were reacting really reminds me of how the brother that wasn't lost, like, acted. Like, it says he was angry, and he wouldn't even go celebrate with his brother, with his father and his brother, because his brother was lost and now he was found, right? So it says he wouldn't even come and celebrate with him, and yeah, you were right, 15:11. And so, let's see here. And isn't it interesting, like, okay, sorry, I guess we're going to read it. Now, the older son was in the field. This is whenever he came back, and then the father put the robe and the ring and the sandals on his feet, and, you know, they had a party. And so the older son was in the field. So this is like similar to what we were just reading, right? About the vineyard. Because, I mean, the kingdom of God is also known as, like, you know, there's stories about the field and all that. And so it says, let's see here. The older son was in the field. So he was doing what he was supposed to be doing, right? Because that's what he's doing. Like, that's what we're called, right? We're supposed to do the, Okay, cool. Well, thanks for coming back. And yeah, no worries. I'm a slow Googler too. So as he came and drew near the house, he heard music and dancing. So he called one of the servants and asked what the things meant. Isn't it interesting that he didn't just go in and see what it was? Like, if it's your house, you think that he would just go in. Like, if I was, like, working in the field in my house and I heard music and dancing, like, I know I'm the owner of my house, but even if it was, like, if I was my parents' house, like, back when I was a kid, if I heard music and dancing, I would not, like, ask one of the servants, you know, I would go in and see what was going on. Like, maybe it's just because I'm a curious person, but that's what I would do. So it says, so he called, right? And then it says, and he said to him, your brother has come, and because he has received him safe and sound, your father has killed the fatted calf. But he was angry and would not go in. So obviously that's selfishness, right? I mean, this is like a great type and shadow, even of like what you see in the church today, where you see so much bad stuff written and talked about, like other believers. Like, I'll just be bold right now. Todd White, he is great. I'm actually friends with like one of his best friends, and he has nothing but good stuff to say about his life and his fruit. And like, maybe he does have a big house that does, and I was actually just talking about someone today. I would call 911 if I heard people in my house. I don't know if I would. Who knows? I live in the country, so. But anyway, so like, he has good fruit in his life. Like, he's a legit Christian. Like, even if he has a big house, like, that's usually one of the biggest things people talk about. And I'm just like, who cares if someone has a big house? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I would never have like a humongo house, but I mean, I have a nice house. My husband has, he owns a business and he has a good job. I own a business. We don't live in like a little house, and there's nothing wrong with having nice things. It's really when things have you, that's when it's wrong, and so the Bible says not to pursue riches. It doesn't say you can't have riches. There's the story in the Bible where it talks about the rich young ruler. I was actually just reading this. It actually might be in Matthew, because I was just reading it. Here it is. So Matthew 19, it talks about the rich young ruler, and he was justifying himself, right? And he was saying, like, I've done all these things. Like, Jesus is like, keep the commandments, that's what he says. And then the guy's like, well, I've done all that, right? And then Jesus is like, if you want to be perfect, go sell what you have, what you have, and go to the poor, and you shall have treasure in heaven, and come follow me. And then, he went away, right? And then Jesus said to the disciples, I say to you, it's hard for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. It's easier, the camel and all that stuff. I'm just kind of trying to summarize it. And then when the disciples heard it, they were greatly astonished and said, who then can be saved? So it seems like it's impossible for a rich man to be saved, right? And so, but Jesus says, with men, this is impossible. With God, all things are possible. So people always quote that verse, but they don't quote the next verse. With men, it's impossible. With God, all things are possible. Like, I am not prosperity doctrine at all, and Todd doesn't teach that. But there's, like, so much bad stuff that people say about him, and it just breaks my heart because, like, the Bible actually talks about this, like about how it actually talks about, like, the servants and how they're attacking other servants, and, God's good. Well, it's a parable, but it's talking about God is going to come back and see that they were, like, fighting other servants and stuff, and then they're going to be thrown away. Like, you know what I mean? Like, thrown in weeping and gnashing of teeth. Sorry, I'm trying to Google it so I can actually show you guys. Let's see here. I don't think it's that one. Well, anyway, it talks about, like, it talks about, like, when, letting the master coming back and seeing him doing good, right? But the crazy thing is, like, we can't, like, talking bad and all that stuff about people, it's not a good thing to do. Like, you don't want to ever speak against people, especially if you don't know. Like, this is something that I'm very passionate about because the Bible says that we're going to be held accountable for every idle word that we speak. And that kind of means, if I remember correctly, I'd have to look it up, but I think it means something like fruitless. Like, it doesn't bring fruit. And so, like, that's a pretty big, like, thing. And that's not to bring condemnation on us. It's just to remind us, like, wow, we have to give account for our lives someday before God. Like, we're all going to stand before God. And I've talked about this before on here, but we're all going to stand before God someday. And it's important that we remember, like, we're not just here to live our life and to go to school and have kids and whatever. Like, we're here for a reason. There's a time to be born, and here we are. Like, we're here for a reason. And it's important to have that, like, I would say the eternity mindset, like living for eternity, knowing, like, that we're here and we just have a little window space, like 100 years max. Some people live more. I think I saw in the news some lady, like, was like 120. I don't know if that was real or not, but either way, like 100, 120 max. Like that would be old. I don't know if I want to live that long. Maybe I would. But anyway, so we only have like a little window of time, you know, and we don't know, like, you know, I don't even know what I'm trying to say with that. But basically what I'm saying is we're going to be accountable for what we are doing, like someday. It's going to be a big deal. And I found the verse. If I was stuttering, it's because I was Googling at the same time as talking. Okay. Matthew 24. I forgot to look at the actual verse. Okay, there it is. Okay, so I think it's that one. I hope it is. Okay. There it is. Found it. Okay, so this is the one I was talking about earlier. Blessed is the servant whom his master, when he comes, will find so doing. And this is talking about, I should read the verse before. Who then is a faithful and wise servant, whom his master has made ruler over his household, to give them food in due season? Blessed is that servant whom his master, when he comes, will find so doing. Assuredly, I say to you, that he will make him ruler over all his goods. But if that evil servant says in his heart, my master is delaying his coming, and begins to beat his fellow servants. So that's what I was talking about, beating his fellow servants. That's Christians. Fellow servants, that's other believers. Beating, that's talking, you know, just gossiping, slandering, talking bad about them, putting them down. And eat and drink with the drunkards. The master of that servant will come on a day he's not looking for him, and at an hour he's not aware of, and will cut him in two and appoint him with his portion with the hypocrites. There will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. That's a pretty strong verse here in Luke. Okay, so anyway, let's finish Luke before I get distracted again. Okay, so we were... Fathers killed... Here it is. He was angry. Okay, so he answered... So actually here, but he was angry and would not go in there. So obviously this is a person living with selfish motives, right? Like, it's all about him. Like, can you imagine being so deceived that you're so upset about someone who was rescued, and we could even spiritualize it because it's a parable. Can you imagine being so upset at God's excitement for a new believer getting saved or even being changed that you are angry about it? Like, can you imagine? Like, that's just what deception, that's how deception can, like, get you if you're, like, deceived about, you know, and living selfishly and not selflessly. And so there's actually, well, I'll read this. I was thinking recently what a privilege it is that we get to live our lives on earth. I was listening to Dan saying how it's only for this little window that we have an opportunity to live by faith. Yep, and that's what I was saying. Like, and I actually got that when I first got saved. I was exposed to John Bevere. He has a book. I think it's called Driven by Eternity. It's a really good book. I recommend it. But it really got me like, wow, like as a teenage girl, I mean, I was 16 when I got saved, really got me thinking like eternity, like eternal, like I'm not just going to high school, like I'm actually, you know, and it really like just helped me to remember, like, you know, like why I'm here. I'm not just a teenager, you know. Oops, I just realized that this went up backwards and I don't know how to change it. Oh, there we go. Well, you guys saw my ceiling and my finger. Okay, so, oh my gosh, I hate this app. Okay, let's see if we can, how do we zoom out? Well, anyway. Gotta love this app. Technical difficulties. Okay, well, I don't know why it's not in focus. I'm sorry. Let's see if I can get it to focus on my ring here. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, sorry guys. This is like so funny. Alright, I think that's better. Sorry it's a little blurry. I don't know what to do. I have no idea what I'm doing. Alright, technical difficulties. Alright, that's still blurry, but anyway. I don't know why it's so close. I didn't even do anything. Like, I have no idea. Alright, well, anyway. I guess we'll just have to move the phone a lot. Yeah, sorry if you guys heard my cat meow. Try pressing and holding on the camera source. I don't know what the camera source is, though. So that doesn't... Oops. Yeah, I don't know what that is. Sorry, my cat is, of course, coming in here and meowing. Alright, well, I guess this will work. Yeah, I have no idea what the camera source is, though, so... Anyway, sorry, guys. This is, like, kind of funny. It's kind of funny how this happens. I don't know if you guys have been here before, but it's always funny whenever I get, like, the crazy stuff happen. Oh, well. It'll be fine, I guess, because I don't know what to do. On the left side when you swipe, it just says... Oops. Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. There's, like, a plus sign, if that's what you mean. I don't know. Yeah, oh, well. I'll just talk. I'm sure you guys can read it. I can always lift this up. Ugh, let's lift this up higher. Okay, that'll work. Okay, sorry guys. All right, so anyway, so can you imagine like being so deceived that you would get upset about someone being Christian, like someone getting saved? And the question you were asking, rejoicing, I don't know where that is, but I do know what verse you're talking about. I don't remember. It might be here. I don't remember. Actually, I think it is in this verse. Is it? No, I guess not. I don't remember. But anyway. Okay. So it says, but he was angry. Then therefore his father came out and pleaded with him. So isn't that cool of God, like, to do that? Like, he's so kind. Like, you know, that's why it's good that none of us are God, because a lot of us would probably be like, are you serious right now? Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's why it's good that God is love. Right? And that we can actually be like that too. You know, at this point, God wants us to learn that that wouldn't be our reaction. So I'm not saying it has to be our reaction, but you know what I'm saying. Okay, so, pleaded with him. So he answered and said to his father, lo, these many years I've been serving you, and I never transgressed your commandment at any time. And yet you never gave me a young goat. And this is actually like something else. I was actually talking about this with someone today. The Bible says not to compare yourself among yourselves. And I always read that as like not to compare myself to other people like Dan or something, right? But that's not just what it's saying. It can be a person's life, what they're going through, like anything. Don't compare yourself to other people, right? Ever. It's not wise. It means you're not wise if you're doing that. So, but if you lack wisdom, you can ask God for wisdom and get it, right? So he was like deceiving himself because he was comparing himself, and he even went like to a goat, right? And then it says, and I've never transgressed your commandment at any time, and yet you never gave me a young goat that I might make merry with my friends. But as soon as the son of yours, so he didn't even call him his brother, he says a son of yours, you know, it's kind of like what parents do when they're like, the son of yours is acting bad, you know, or whatever. Who has devoured your livelihood with harlots, you killed the fatted calf for him. And he said to him, son, you're always with me, and all that I have is yours. It was right that you should make merry and be glad. For your brother was dead and is alive again, and was lost and is found. So it's really cool, like, whenever you read that, because like, it just gives us, like, parables are great because they give us, like, you know, a way to, you know, for God to, like, sorry. There's, like, this weird thing that's happening on here. I have no idea what just happened. Okay. But anyway, so parables are great because they give us, like, this really cool way to, you know, just, like, view life and whatever. Like, Jesus gave us parables, right? So yeah, he's just cool like that. Yeah, I'm sorry guys, this is like really distracting me. I have no idea why. See, look at that, you guys saw my ceiling again. I think there's like a problem with this app again. I hate this app. Okay, all right, anyway, so let's go back to Matthew. I have no idea. I don't even know how you guys are gonna how I can show you how to read this because my Bible's really big, but I guess this time you guys will see my notes. You usually can't see them, I don't think. Okay, so we were in Matthew 20. So I was talking about, I think we were like right there. Yeah. So I was talking about like, this parable of the vineyard and all that stuff. And so this is the problem. And I don't know if I said this already. So if not, I'll just say it again. It says he complained against the landowner. So, and I have 1 Corinthians 10:10 there. So if you want to turn there, that's just the verse about how they were destroyed by the destroyer. So it's important that we don't complain. The Bible actually says not to complain. So if you're complaining, all you're doing is setting yourself up to be destroyed by the destroyer, right? Which is the enemy. So it says right here, I'm trying to make sure you guys can see it. Okay. Nor let us tempt Christ, as some of them also tempted and were destroyed by serpents. Well, that was verse 9-10. Nor complain, as some of them also complained and were destroyed by the destroyer. 11. Now all these things happened to them as examples, and they are written for our admonition, upon whom the ends of the ages have come. So it's important for us to, and here's another good one too. Therefore, let him who thinks he stands take heed, lest he fall. And then it talks about temptation and all that stuff. So one thing that I think would be good to keep in mind is like, actually this is like off topic, but I just want to talk about it because I hear people quote this verse all the time. Let him who thinks he stands take heed lest he fall. This isn't saying you have to be afraid of falling. Like, because I've heard people like where I'm like, God's done a work in my heart. I know who I am. Like, I'm learning who I am still, but I'm very confident and secure in that. And so people will be like, oh, look, you're going to fall because you think you stand. That says who think you think you stand. It doesn't say, I think it's talking about people who, think they stand, but they're not actually standing. It's a work of grace that God does in your heart, right? Because it says in Ephesians 6, like 3 times about standing. Stand, therefore, stand, right? And I'll just go there real quick. And so it's important for us to like, it's okay to be confident in that, to be confident in knowing that you stand. All right, here we go. I'm trying to get my Bible there. So it's in here, it says, be strong in the Lord, the power of his might, put on the whole armor that you may be able to stand. So it says, put on the armor so you can stand. So if you're if you're standing, if you have the armor, then you're standing. That's how you stand. Do animals go to heaven? That's kind of like off topic, but yes, they do go to heaven. I believe they do. We know there's actually animals in heaven because Jesus comes back from heaven on a horse. And then there's going to be like, God is going to destroy the heavens and make a new earth. Eventually, this is going to be like a long time from now. Whenever after the end of the world, and there's going to be lions and lambs together, so we know there's going to be animals. If you're talking about your beloved animals, this is not something we can find in scripture, but I 100% believe that our beloved animals that we love will be in heaven. I don't see why not. Like, why wouldn't they be? Like, if God loves us, of course, like, why wouldn't he let us have our pets? I'm a big cat lady and I love my cats, and I know, like, God, there's no reason why God wouldn't let my cats be there. Like, I just love my cats. So, anyway, yeah, thanks for asking, but it was off topic. So, if there is another off topic question, I might wait to answer it until I'm done with my line of thought, but that's no big deal. I mean, obviously ask questions. All right, put on the whole armor of God that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. And then over here, we're going to go to verse 13. Therefore, take up the whole armor of God that you may be able to withstand in the evil day. And then next, verse 14, because I want to show you. Well, the end, it says, and having done all to stand therefore. So it says stand twice. It actually talks about standing a lot. So it's important for us to know we're standing. So I know that was like an off-topic thing that I was saying. But, so I guess it was actually worked out. Oh, okay. Yeah, if you're on Reddit, I don't know what he's sending you, but I'm sure it's fine. Okay, so we're back in Matthew. Here we go. Okay, complaining. So don't complain. When you're complaining, all you're doing is setting yourself up, because then it's all about you and how life is treating you, and it just leads to not good things. So trust me, don't get caught in complaining. If complaining is something you struggle with, I used to complain a lot. Well, I'm sure, Ben, if you're like talking about a link, you could just post it, I'm sure. Which, by the way, I assumed you were from Reddit, so how did you find my Bible study? Just curious, because that's kind of cool. And hopefully my question or my answer answered your question. But we know that there are already animals in heaven, so you don't have to worry about that. Okay. So, complaining, don't do it. Saying these men have worked only 1 hour. So this dude actually got caught up in comparison, right? There's the comparing again. So remember how I was kind of comparing and contrasting this with Luke 15 about the good father, the parable of the son and stuff. So he was comparing, like he was saying, oh, since I've done all this, like, and that's like what happens when you get stuck in the works mentality. And what I mean by that is when you get stuck thinking about, like, I don't know, what's the easiest way I can say this? When it's all about what you do and not about who you are and what you know and who you know, really, I guess is what I should say. It's all about relationship with God. That's like the only way that we can produce fruit is through abiding. And abiding is knowing him. It's like walking in a relationship with Jesus. That's how we grow. Oh, some more comments. I'll have to see if I can find it. Okay, so yeah, I don't remember what it is. Unless you're talking about that thing from Cat. I don't remember. Okay, let's see here. So, you made him equal to all of us who have borne the burden. So there we go. Like, you can see so much deception in what he's saying. It kind of shows that he was kind of working for the wrong reason, right? I mean, how could you get upset from what other people are getting paid? You know what I mean? Like, it's not about works. It's not about what we can earn. It's not about any of that stuff. So, and obviously, like, we are all equal. So he was pretty, that was wrong. Borne the burden in the heat of the day. So the burden, and I wrote lie. So he was believing the lie. First of all, we don't bear any burdens, right? It says that come to him, his yoke is easy, his burden is light. So this guy was, and again, this is obviously a parable. I know it's talking about, the vineyard and stuff, but you can relate these principles to our lives now, right? So he's believing a lie. He's living selfishly for himself. He's not living for the sake of others and for the kingdom. He's getting stuck in comparison, and you know that means he doesn't have wisdom, so that means he's not asking God for wisdom, right? And then it says, in the heat of the day, I wrote trials. So I wrote that because every time I read about heat and stuff, I always think of trials. It doesn't always mean that. But I think of trials because, the best example is Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. So they went into the fire and they came out not even smelling like they were in fire. And they found the fourth man in the fire, which I thought was, there's so much awesome stuff in there. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I'm sure you could Google it and find it if you write, or even just read the book, Imagine Heaven. It's a book, so I don't honestly know what they said, but whether they believe it or not, I 100% believe that our pets are, like, I have no doubt. Like, if God can resurrect people that are decomposed in the ocean for 2,000 years, he can easily create us our pets, like in heaven. We already know there's going to be pets there. And if for some reason he doesn't, like, we're not going to remember it. We're not going to be like, oh, I'm so sad my pets aren't here. Like, you know what I mean? But I just have a feeling my cats will, because I love my cats. So even if God doesn't, he will for me, because he knows how much I love my cats. Just kidding. Okay. Sorry, I just hurt my tongue again on my brace thing, Invisalign. But he answered one of them and said, so many of them were doing that, right? Friend, I am doing you no wrong. Did you not agree to work with me, or agree with me for a denarius? Take what is yours and go on your way. I wish to give this last man the same as to you. Is it not lawful for me to do what I wish with my own things? So that's another thing. Like, sometimes we kind of get stuck thinking, if we think that, like, God owes us, like, and that's the problem I have with the prosperity gospel. And that's what I was talking earlier. Like, even if there are believers, and I was talking with someone on the phone about this today. It's kind of funny how much we talked about, like, relating to what I'm talking about today. But even if there are believers who believe in the prosperity gospel, it doesn't mean that they're not saved. Like, it doesn't mean that, oh, automatically they're not a Christian because they believe all that stuff. Like, I obviously do not, I obviously do not agree with prosperity teaching, but I don't think it's wrong to have money. I think it's wrong if money has you, like I said earlier. So it's okay to have money. Like, you can't do stuff without money. Like, I wouldn't have been able to bless people, you know, pay for people's groceries and whatever other stuff God's told me to do, like fill people's gas tanks, if I didn't have money. So it's okay to have money. It's just not okay to pursue riches. You know, it says don't pursue riches. You'll pierce yourself with many sorrows, you know, because they don't have relatives in heaven that they know. I'm not sure what you mean, but, yeah, I don't see why there wouldn't be pets in heaven. But I think that, anyway, sorry, I was getting distracted again. But, yeah, I don't remember what I was saying. We'll just go to this. Oh, yeah, like, us thinking that, you know, with prosperity and stuff, like, it's not even about, like, I don't know. It's kind of like a big controversial topic, so I don't really want to go too much into it because I don't want to make people mad, especially if there's people here that believe that stuff. Because I actually used to believe in the prosperity gospel, kinda, not that much. I will say this, I learned a lot about faith through it, through like the, you know, those movements and stuff, so I'm grateful for what I got from it. I just think that there's a healthy balance, and I know people that make a lot of money and they live on like literally 10% of it. They could have a mansion if they wanted. And it's not me, by the way. But, because I don't want it to like sound like I'm trying to talk about me. It's not me, it's someone else. They make a lot of money. They could literally afford a mansion if they wanted to, and they give most of it away. And I think that's I think that's why we prosper, so we can give it away. You know, I would love to be able to, and there's other ways you can give too. Like, even, I don't know how old people are that are listening right now, but if you have kids, or if you're at that age, or you're almost at that age, like, you'll be able to someday, like, I want to be a foster mom someday. Like, I want to, like, because can you imagine, like, the Jesus that I have, and just our home atmosphere, like, a healthy place. It's not like a crazy, you know, one of those crazy places. Like, we're Christians. We love Jesus. Jesus is Lord in our house. There's peace here. You know, my nephews and nieces love coming here. There's joy. I mean, just fruits of the Spirit. And can you imagine how amazing that would be if we could just, like, let other, you know what I mean? Just serve these children by being a foster parent, if we can someday. You know what I mean? Like, it's a really awesome thing to have. And that's what the Bible calls pure religion, is taking care of the orphans and the widows. And it doesn't just have to be a literal orphan. It could be an orphan as in their parents aren't there, you know, like, because there are kids, I know kids that their parents literally sign their rights away, you know, and it's just really sad. But the verse I wanted to talk about, just about money. Hopefully someone needed to hear this, because I never talk about money. Let's see here. I'll just start with verse 6, and I'm in 1 Timothy, I think I'm in 6. Yeah, 1 Timothy 6, verse 6. Now, godliness with contentment is great gain. So that's the key, is just being content wherever you're at, whether you're rich, whether you're poor, whether you're on food stamps, whether you're, you know what I mean? Like, just be content. You don't need more. Just be content. You know what I mean? And if you're struggling to pay your bills, don't think that you're a bad Christian not living by faith just because you're struggling. Like, you know, it doesn't mean that. Just whatever part of life you're in, just live for his name and for his glory, because someday you're not going to get to live by faith anymore. So we only can live by faith now, right? So you're not going to get to. So you have the best time to, like, obviously it's always good to worship God, but it's a really good thing to worship God whenever everything is telling you not to, when everything's going bad and everything, you know what I mean? Like, that's the best time to worship, is whenever you shouldn't be by the world standards, right? All right, verse 7. And I don't know if it's clear. Hopefully you guys can see this, because this app thing is weird. For we brought nothing into this world, and it is certain we can carry nothing out. And having food and clothing, with these we shall be content. But those who desire to be rich fall into temptation and a snare, and into many foolish, harmful lusts, which drown men in destruction and perdition. That's like pretty bad. I don't know about you, but we don't want to fall into that. It's a snare, right? And it doesn't say those who are rich. It says those that desire to be rich. So it's when you pursue these things is when it's not okay. For the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil, for which some have strayed from their faith in their greediness and pierced themselves through with many sorrows. And then here, and this is like a verse a lot of people use about lust, and you can use it for anything really, but you, O man of God, flee these things and pursue righteousness, godliness, faith, love, peace, patience, gentleness, and then it goes on to say some other stuff. So it's important that we don't pursue riches, but if they happen, awesome. Like, bless God, do cool stuff with it, bless people. One of my favorite things to do is to give people humongo tips. Like, when they know I'm a Christian, I love giving them big tips. I either, if I can, like if we're able to, I either like to do $100 tip or tip my bill, whichever is higher. So, you know, and if I'm not able to, I like to just tip my bill. Like if it's like a $20 bill, I like to tip at least $20. You know, I've seen Christians get their calculators out, and you know, and there's nothing wrong with that, but let's bless people. If you're in the position to, bless people. Okay, good. I'm glad it's clear. Bless people if you're in the position to, because you have no idea. Like, I actually love even more when the waitress is mean and we don't get what we ordered and they give us cold food. I love giving them a big tip for that, because they are not expecting it. Like, you know, and I've had rude waitresses before because they know we're Christian and, you know, mocking and stuff, and they probably were expecting nothing, and I definitely made sure I blessed them, because that's what Jesus would do, right? So, you know, you bless people, bless those who persecute you. It's not just saying God bless you to them. It's you bless them, like make their life better, enrich their life. You know what I mean? So, hopefully that makes sense. And by the way, there's like a lot of people here. Well, not a lot, but there's 6 people here, and I only know like of 1 person or 2. So if you're here, feel free to say hi, because I have no clue who's here right now. Okay, next part. Is your eye evil because I'm good? So the last will be first. I did read that one. And the first will be last. I want to talk about this part. For many are called, but few are chosen. So you're chosen when you say yes. You know, so a lot of people use that verse and say like, oh, you know, they'll use it like, oh, that means predestination. No, it doesn't. It means if you raise your hand, you're going to be chosen. If you say yes, you'll be chosen. Many are called. Oh yeah, sorry. I forgot. Carlos did say hi earlier. So I only know who 3 people are here, so I don't know who the other people are. I guess you guys don't want to say hi. That's okay. So anyway, I think that was pretty much all I wanted to talk about tonight, and I don't even know if it makes sense, so hopefully it makes sense what I was talking about. But, well, I guess we could talk about this part, the next part. I really like that too. It's actually pretty funny. So basically Zebedee's son's mom, or his wife, I guess you would say, asked, I think this is John and James, if I recall correctly. And she basically said, grant that my sons can sit on your left and right in the kingdom. And Jesus is like, you don't know what you ask, you know. And then, you know, he goes into it if you want to read it later. And all it did was make the other disciples mad. They were probably displeased because they didn't think of it themselves to ask Jesus first. That's probably why they were displeased. So then Jesus goes into it and he says, basically, if you want to be great, you need to become a servant, right? And that's like what love is becoming a servant. It's not about always being right. It's not about, you know, like there's times when people say stuff to me and I could totally have a comeback and I could totally, you know, say something that would show them that they're wrong. I mean, I've had so many times that this happens and I usually just let it go and I'm just like, it doesn't matter. Like, I don't honestly really care. Like, if people, you know, get upset about things or whatever, like, just bless them. That's what it's about. It's about living for the sake of other people. And then, you know, because we were reading Matthew 20, and this is totally separate, but I really think that there can be a good truth in this next part. So we're going to read verse 30. My cat is giving himself a bath in the background. I hope you guys cannot hear that. Okay. And behold, 2 blind men sitting by the road, when they heard that Jesus was passing by, cried out, saying, Have mercy on us, O Lord, Son of David. Then the multitudes warned them that they should keep quiet or be quiet. But they cried out all the more, saying, Have mercy on us, O Lord, Son of David. So Jesus stood still and called him. So notice how crying, like, despite when people tell you, and not obviously crying tears, it could be, but they're just saying like they were saying it loudly. So imagine like whenever you are blind, first of all, how they even knew. And I don't know if it's this verse. I don't know if it's this story or a different parable, but there's another one that says that that blind men followed Jesus, which is really crazy. Like, how the heck do you follow someone when you're blind? Right? It just gives us like a really, cool thing to learn from it. Like, if you don't know what you're, let's say that you don't know what's going on, you don't know like in your life, let's say you don't know where you're supposed to go, you just follow Jesus. That's like what we can learn from it. Obviously you're not blind, but you follow him even if you don't know what's going on, and it seems like you're just walking by faith, you follow him. And by the way, since I'm almost done, if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask, because I'll be done pretty soon, in a few minutes. Then the multitude warned them that they should be quiet. And notice that when they were warning them, they just got like louder. They just cried out all the more. So when people will tell you things, I'm not going to get into the women preaching thing, but people tell me that sometimes, ironically, people who don't know me. But people say stuff like that, and it just makes me like, and by the way, there's so many verses about this, because this was just actually on Reddit, like, today, I think. It's crazy how many people take 2 verses and ignore all the other verses, like about Lydia and Chloe and Junia, who was an apostle. I think she was an apostle, or maybe Aquilus was. I think it's Aquilus, or I don't remember the name, but it was a girl and a guy, and they were like leaders of a church, and the woman's name was first, which is a big deal in that time. So it was for a reason. And so, can you please stop giving yourself a bath while I'm doing a Bible study? Please, thank you. But anyway, so people say stuff like that, and you could even just like, and again, I'm not going to get into it super deep, but there are, like, I'm very, very secure in believing what I believe regarding women teaching, which, by the way, I am a woman, as you can tell, I'm sure, and you guys are here listening to me, right? So, but there's been like some people who just say stuff like call me stuff and say I'm whatever, and it just makes me like do it even more, because I'm like, you're just wrong. You're gonna find out someday that you were wrong about this, So anyway, that's like a different topic. And I think that was on my mind because I like someone just literally talked about it like on Reddit. Like I just commented something about it. But anyway, so Jesus stood still and called them and said, "What do you want me to do for you?" They said to him, "Lord, that our eyes may be open." So Jesus had compassion and touched their eyes, and immediately their eyes received sight, and they followed him. So the purpose of us seeing is to follow him, right? It's pretty cool. But anyway, I think I'm pretty much done, which this is like a miracle because I usually go for like an hour and a half. But if anyone else has any questions, please let me know, because I'm going to be done very soon. Going back to what you were talking about before, how do you bless waiters and waitresses and talk about the gospel with them beyond just tipping, of course? I'm very like friendly, so I think sometimes it just comes natural to me. By the way, this is off topic, but can you guys hear my cat? It's like so loud. He's getting a really loud bath right next to me, so I'm like, of course he comes in my whole house. He comes next to me, so hopefully you guys can't hear. But but let me know if you can, because if so, I'll move him. And he'll probably just come back. But so anyway, so I'm a very friendly person, so I always just talk to people. A lot of times, like the best time to learn how to flow in the gifts, which I think that's in Hebrews 5. Oh wait, hold on. I gotta put my bookmark there. Okay. I think it's in Hebrews 5. Yeah, okay. So I'll just read this really quick. But solid food belongs to those who are of full age, that is, those who by reason of use have their senses exercised to discern both good and evil. So this is like a good concept for us to remember, like with anything, like whenever you are, like whenever you're trying to practice, I guess you could say practice, it's all through, I don't want to say practice because it sounds weird, but like the best time to go and like it's hard to say this so you guys understand what I'm saying. Okay, so here's an example. So I have the gift of prophecy. So I like to go and pray for people and ask God if he has anything to say to people, like all the time when I'm out. So when I get a waitress, I like to ask God if there's anything that he wants to say to them, because God loves people, right? And so like Jesus did this with whenever he talked to hey guys, what did I miss? It's pretty much over, but I am doing questions because I'm done. So if anyone has questions, again, just let me know. But anyway, so whenever Jesus talked to the woman at the well, right, he told her that she was married or not married, but she had 5 guys and, you know, all that stuff. Or she had 5 husbands and the guy she was with wasn't her husband and whatever. So I believe, I know, okay, so it says that all should desire the gifts, but especially that you may prophesy. So prophecy is for the edification, comfort, building up of people, right? So sometimes of Christians. So if I meet a non-Christian, I'm not going to like encourage them in their relationship with God, right? Because they're not a Christian yet. But I do like to, you know, it says that God's thoughts about us are innumerable, like the grains of sand. It's not even a word. Well, it is, but not the word I wanted, sand. Like the grains of sand, right? So all you have to do is just get one of those thoughts. And I know some people are probably turned off by that, but that's okay. That's just what I do. And so I will, they call it words of knowledge. So I'll just ask God for something for them. And sometimes I'm wrong. Sometimes I'm right. It's pretty cool. And that's just learning to do it. And the best time to do it is when you're out in public, like pray for people. Waitresses, I love to just, you know, I'm not like, you know, I know some people that'll be like, if you were to die tonight, would you go to heaven? Like, I would never say that probably unless God told me to, because I just feel like it's so cliche. Like, because it's not about praying a prayer to get to heaven. It's about praying a prayer to get your life changed. Can the ability of prophecy allow us to open up doors? I'm not sure what you mean by doors. Do you mean like bad doors to the demonic, or do you mean like, I don't know what you mean. But I do think that like if you want to learn to prophesy, just ask God for the gift. It says desire that you would have the gifts, especially that you may prophesy. So it's something that God wants to do through his people, because why wouldn't he want to encourage and build up other Christians, right? God loves people. He wants to encourage his bride and encourage people, right? That's why, like, if anyone here knows me on Reddit, I'm very big into encouraging, and that's actually another gift of mine. It's funny because I took a spiritual gifts test, like, when I was first saved, and all of the gifts that I had are, like, ones that I flow in today, so it was definitely accurate. It was prophecy, teaching, and, like, I think it's called exhortation. But like encouraging. So, and I just encourage people because I'm encouraged. So, no, I mean just allowing us to converse with people. Yeah, I think it does open doors. I mean, here's a story. So, one time I was breaking the ice in a way. Oh, how has your guys' week been? Mine has been awesome. I'll talk about it in a minute, I guess. But, I think it depends. Like, you just have to like, you know, it's kind of like just having like for me, my personality is friendly. So I just talk to everyone anyway. Even before I was saved, I was like that. I would just talk to everyone and talk about our lives, you know? I guess not all people do that. But I do. So it's just how I am. I really like people. And so now as a Christian, like I really love. Okay. Sorry guys. I don't know what happened there. It just said broadcast was completed. So I have no idea what that means. But anyway, so I don't remember what the last thing I was saying was, but, I was talking about, stop it, kitty, stop. Stop doing that. So I was talking about, like blessing people and whatever. I can't even remember what I was talking about. Sorry guys, I got distracted again from this thing. I'm trying to put this away. Okay. Yeah, sorry, I don't know what happened. But anyway, okay, so having like, just being friendly with people, you know, like, I think if you genuinely care about people, they're gonna realize it. You know, like, you're not just like, oh, I have to get you saved. Like, you're not, like, I'm not saying it's bad to want people saved, but your motive isn't to get them to go to church. It's literally just to love them, and love never fails, you know? Like, I don't always tell everyone the gospel, like, of how to get saved. Like, I have people ask me how to get saved sometimes. Sometimes I don't. Like, you know, it's just about bringing the kingdom to people and loving people, because love never fails. So no matter what you do, love never fails, right? So, anyway, I don't even, like, know where I was going with that, but yeah, hopefully that answers your question. So, I don't know. Week-wise, I already said this earlier, but I got braces, aka Invisalign, which is, like, the plastic braces, because I have, like, one crooked bottom tooth, and I just wanted to fix it because I can. So, thankfully, my top teeth are straight, so I never had to get metal braces. I've heard those are painful. But these are painful too. So, I'm still growing in that. I'm struggling with shyness, anxiety. I'm growing, but it's hard. Well, it's going to be hard because you say it's hard, right? I think you knew I was going to say that. Cast all your anxieties or your cares onto God because he cares. So, the righteous are as bold as a lion. I do know that part. For me, I do know, like, part of it is just God made me friendly. Like, not saying that you're not friendly, but he made me very talkative, and just, like, I literally could talk to anyone. Like, actually, this is a funny story. I was at a conference recently. I was talking to this lady on the elevator, and I ended up going to her hotel room and talking to her for like 30 minutes after. Like, that's just me. That's just what I do. Hold on, I have to take a drink of water. Okay. So anyway, so I do understand that part of that is, it's just my gift. So I do understand that. But at the same time, like, the Bible says the righteous are as bold as a lion. Like, we can all be bold. It doesn't have to be as extreme, but it's really just love. Like, I think that when we're loving people and living for the sake of others and we deny it ourselves, it's not going to be about us being shy or anxious, right? And sometimes it is harder, like as in, if you're a guy, like, for me, all the time I'll compliment people. And sometimes you can get away with that when you're a woman, but if you're a man, like, I do know sometimes you can freak people out, and they might, like, call the police on you, or, you know what I mean? Like, so I understand. You just have to, like, be led by God, and just, you know, because, like, it could be as simple as, like, I'm trying to think. So one time I was at the zoo, and there was this lady, and I got, like, it wasn't like God was like, pray for her on the left side, she has migraines. I just felt like a impression. That's one way God speaks to me. And so I asked her, and I was like, do you have migraines on the left side of your head? And she's like, yes, oh my gosh. And, you know, and she was in a lifestyle that, you know, wasn't Jesus, right? But I didn't tell her, you know, you're sinning, you know. I just prayed for her. She let me pray for her, said some stuff to her, and just left. And I don't think I can't remember, because this was like a few years ago. I don't think she had pain at that moment, so I couldn't have said that she was healed. But even if she didn't, like, the fact that I knew that, I mean, I think she asked me if I was a psychic or something. I was like, no, I'm just a Christian who loves Jesus. But I was like, I have authority over psychics. No, I'm just kidding. I would never say that, although I do. But I was like, you know, I just was, like, talking to her, just being kind to her, and you know she's going to think about that. She's going to remember, some sow, some water, God brings the increase, right? Not all of us sow, not all of us water. Some of us sow, some of us water. Sometimes it could be as simple as, hey, I just want to let you know, like, you know, Jesus loves you. It could be like, hey, I was just wondering, I'm a Christian, and I'm trying to learn just to be more bold about my faith. I would love to pray for you if you have any prayer requests. You know, just do that. Like, for example, I had the cat groomer come to my house yesterday because my cat had to get his summer shave because he's very long haired and his hair is insane. And it was funny because he hated it and he bit me. So if you guys saw this, he never bites. He's like the most chill cat in the world. He's like a golden retriever. But if cats get scared, they don't act like themselves. So he bit me. I was like, you've never bitten me before. He never acted like that. But anyway, so the cat groomer came, and at the end, I just said, she was saying her back hurt or whatever. So I prayed for her. And she's like, oh, yeah, it still hurts. I asked her if it felt better, and she said no. So I prayed for her again, and I could tell she was getting a little uncomfortable. I would have kept praying until it was fully healed. But so I just prayed, and then, did you hurt his teeth? No. He hurt my skin. I actually bled. But anyway, so I prayed for her, and then as we were going out, she was so touched that I just prayed for her. Like, she wasn't even healed. I don't think. I forgot to ask her. She probably would have told me she was, though. And who knows? She could be healed today. But she had, like, really bad, I forget what was with her back and that stuff in your hands. I don't remember what it's called. That thing that you guys might know what it's talking about. Not arthritis, but it's like, or carpal tunnel. That's what it was here. So, anyway, but I was just, like, she was so touched that I just prayed for her. Like, who would think that just praying for someone would touch someone? But it does, you know? It wasn't even, like, that big of a thing, you know? But it really touched her. And then as she was leaving, she asked me to pray for her friend, so we prayed for her friend. And so it was just really cool. And I just got to minister to her a bit. And she was a Christian, too, so... But anyway, yeah, funny story about Nikon, or my cat biting me. Whenever he bit me... And yes, Nikon's the name of a camera. Sorry, I didn't mean to say that. I meant to say cat. When he bit me, she was like, oh no, you know, cats have so much bacteria in their teeth, you know? And I was like, you know, knowing me, I was like, I'm not even going to, like... So I actually purposely waited to wash it out, and then I purposely waited even longer to put Neosporin on it. So it was really funny, because, like, usually... You know, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to get a disease because a cat bit me with their dirty mouth. And I'm like, nope, I'll be fine. So I didn't even think about it. I think he bit me up here too. It was like all these dang cat bites on my arm. We have a God. I'm not sure. Yes, we do have a God, but I'm not sure what you mean. All that is encouraging. I don't know which part was, but good. I'm glad. So the main thing is, like, I think as a guy that you can go out and not freak people out, you know, just be mindful, because people think evil, you know. The Bible says to abstain from the appearance of evil. That's because people think evil. That's why it says that. So you don't want to, you know, go and say stuff to people, like, if you think it's going to freak them out, you know, just, and I think that you could probably get away, well, depends. I was say you could get away with it when you're older. Don't be limited by it. It doesn't matter how old you are, but just be mindful and ask God to help you. Like, and don't be afraid, you know, and don't be afraid with what happens. Sorry, my chair is really squeaky. My first time ever going out and praying for people in public, I think I've talked about this before. The husband was fine. He was in a wheelchair. He had COPD and I forget what else. Oh yeah, that's true. That is true. We do have Jesus. We don't have fear. Yep, that's true. And I was like, it was funny because I prayed for the guy and he was fine, but his girlfriend or wife or whoever, as they were leaving this huge store, it's like a Walmart. It's really big. She screamed, "We're Satanists. I worship Satan. Like, we don't want Jesus," or whatever. And the guy was like shaking his head, like so embarrassed. So it was funny. But I was like, that was my first time. It was pretty intense. Like, everyone was looking, like, she was screaming that stuff, screaming it, not just yelling it. Like, she was screaming it in the middle of the store at me. And I was just like, I just laughed. Like, not at her, but I just laughed at it. I was like, oh, because you know, the enemy obviously was not happy that I was starting to step out. And so it was funny. But yeah, one of the best, I think they call it treasure hunts, but the best time to grow in these things is just when you're at the store, the grocery store. Ask God to point someone out to you. Like, just try to touch just one person when you go out. It's really awesome. It really is. Like, in your day-to-day life, just pray for people, you know? Like, my cat groomer, who knew, like, having a lady come to cut my cat's hair, that I could have encouraged her, and she wasn't even healed yet. I'm believing she will be. But she didn't even get healed. But I prayed for her and it touched her heart, you know. Did you hurt the equipment? That's funny. That's actually really funny. I should say that. That's what I do when kids get hurt is you act like it's not a big deal, because if you're like, oh my gosh, then they like freak out. So you try to act normal. And I forget, there's a cartoon I saw once on this where the kid was running towards the parents and a UFO fell on the kid. And the parents were like, ha ha ha, that was so funny. And the kid didn't cry. Like, it was just, you had to see it. But anyway, if anyone has any more questions, please let me know, because I'm about to be done. Thanks for joining. I did not think that I was going to go this long again. So it actually hasn't been too bad. I don't even know if I'm still live. Okay, I am. Oh, there it is. I see the Zoom thing. There it is. No, that can't be it. Because it's still too close. I feel like it's not supposed to be this close. That's funny. Yeah, you're going to have to tell me how to do this later, Ben, because I do not want this happening again. Because I have no idea. But anyway, I think we're done. I was pretty distracted today because my cat was getting a bath right by me and just all this stuff. So hopefully it made sense what I said today. I think that was all I wanted to say, though. Let me see here. I think that's all I wanted to say. I'll let you guys see my word, Holy Bible. Let me get my thing and see if there's anything else that I wanted to read. And like I was saying at the beginning, I always say I don't know if I'm going to keep doing these every week. I think I'll just do it, and if I can't do it, I'll let you guys know on Reddit if I'm not doing it. I do wish I would have heard, I do wish I would have heard back from that one person that asked about the animals. I'd love to know how they found me, but they probably already left, so who knows. It's just interesting when people find you. You're like, huh? How'd you find this? Yeah, I mean, there's some cool verses that I could read that I have written in my journal, but they don't have anything to do with what we were talking about. The zoom camera, I don't know. It's zoomed in, so I have no idea. I don't know how to stop it. It doesn't go away. Because it's not supposed to be this close, so I have no idea. I hate this app so much. Just kidding. See, that would be complaining, and we don't want to do that. Okay, well, I think I'm going to sign off. And Lance, remind me, you were on Reddit, right? Does the Father speak to you through other people? Yes, I've been prophesied over many times. Actually, one time I was at, what was that place called? Not Starbucks. Was it Starbucks? No, Panera. I was at Panera for 7 hours. Because my car was getting fixed, and so instead of waiting at the actual place, and my husband was at work, so I had to just stay there. And instead of waiting there, they dropped me off at Panera, so I hung out there all day and read my Bible and stuff. And literally, God sent this dude that was old, not that it matters, but he was like Moses, he was 60. He looked like Pastor Dan, actually. He had a full head of white hair, and he knew who Dan was, he said, but he came in and prophesied over me, and I was crying and bawling at Panera. That was who does that? He just came up to me and prophesied over me. So it was really cool. And so yeah, and then I've had people say stuff. I actually have a book that I write all my prophetic words in. It's pretty cool because God always seems to say the same exact things. I don't get a ton of them. I used to get them all the time. I used to be the person that would be called in the middle of tons of people at church, and people would prophesy over you and stuff. When I was a newer believer, because I needed it, that was kind of how I would that God would just speak to me again. Yeah, so I would, and yeah, are you the dude from Reddit? I can't remember if I asked you that, Lance. Are you I was thinking the one guy's name. I'm thinking of his name. He posted a rap video. I think that was him. I didn't know if that was you or not. I forgot the name of the Reddit account, but yeah. So anyway, it's cool how they're all similar. I've had that I'm gonna teach more times than I can count from people all over the world that don't know each other, like the same exact things. Okay, I couldn't remember if you were off Reddit or not. I can't remember. Oh, you are off Reddit. Okay, so cool. No rap. Yes, that wasn't me. He. Yeah, I don't know. That guy was cool though. I don't know if he's here tonight. He's cool. But anyway, so it's really cool how I always get the same words, like very specific prophetic words, from people, whenever I do get prophesied over. But yeah, amazing, life-changing things. If you are not in a church that flows, I'm on Reddit, but I don't rap. Okay, cool. What's your username? I can't remember if you told us or not before. Just curious if I remember. But anyway, like, so if you don't go to a church that flows in that stuff, it's really cool too. I just have to say, like, it's really cool to go to a church that people flow in the gifts of the Spirit. It's very encouraging and it's just really awesome. I feel like I want to, like, might as well just zoom in since this thing is, okay. I think we're done. Okay. So, oh, okay. I remember now. I remember who you are. We've talked a few times actually. I always forget people's names, like, because there's so many. I do get a lot of messages on Reddit, so, but yeah. All right, well, thank you guys for coming, and thank you for listening to me talk for 76 minutes. It's a long time. So I don't know how I can talk that long. See, I told you guys I'm talkative. So anyway, thank you for coming. And you know what? I actually forgot. I need to get to the control room so I can turn this off. So I guess I'll just keep talking until I'm ready. I always forget how to find the control room though. Okay, of course it's not that. All right, I have to Google it. Sorry. But anyway, so thank you guys for coming. I appreciate it. Let me see here. Live control room YouTube. And I appreciate you guys coming and just, you know, listening to me talk for that long. So it's always fun to do whenever I'm here. Okay, here we go. I wish I knew how to get to the control room. Okay, I'm finally here. Live dashboard. Okay, now I should be able to turn it off. Okay, thanks guys for coming. Jesus loves you. And oh, there's some more questions. Will you be on next week? I should be. I can't, well, I can check my calendar on my Mac. Hold on here. I should be. I mean, it just depends. There's a time in July that I won't be able to, the end of July, because I'll be like busy the whole week. So I'm actually not even gonna be home. So for like a week. So, but yeah, so I should be next week. Who prophesied to you? I've had many people prophesy over me. Over the years I've been saved for my 15-year anniversary with Jesus is this Saturday, actually. So, I have been prophesied over by many, many people. Christians, obviously, at church, pastors, teachers, traveling evangelists. Pretty cool stuff. I have a whole book filled with all the prophetic words I've gotten. They're definitely encouraging, and that was what I was saying earlier. If you guys don't go to a prophetic church that flows in those things, and if God, you know, leads you to one, like, definitely go, because it's just cool to see the gifts of the Spirit. Like, they're there for a reason. So anyway, bless you guys. Jesus loves you. Good night. My husband's home, so I get to see my hubby now. So goodbye.